All right, this next section is about Google Docs, and this is um, a subdivision of Google Drive. So Google Drive was that general service that allowed us to host our files and edit files, manipulate files, share files. It's basically like a flash drive, but on the internet, kind of what we talked about previously. And today we're going to talk about Google Docs. That is one of those subdivisions that allows us to create documents. It's basically Google's version of Microsoft Word. So what is Google Docs? Google Docs is a word processor included as a part of a free web-based software office suite offered by Google within its Google Drive service. This service also includes Google Sheets and Google Slides, a spreadsheet and presentation program, respectively. Now, what does that mean? It just means that Google Docs is a web-based program that you can use to create documents such as letters, reports, papers, to-do lists, notes, etc. It's basically Microsoft Word, but from Google. It's just Google's version of that. So what are the things we're going to go over today for Google Docs? We're gonna quick do a review of Google Drive and file creation and things like that. And then we're going to go over basic usage and tools. I'll show you some cool tips and tricks. We'll do templates. We'll go over sharing and collaborating. And then also how saving works, how version history works, which is, again, one of my favorite features, and then also how to download files and things like that. So first things first, you're going to need your Google account or your Gmail account. So for me, my account is what I have set up. So whatever I have at gmail.com, and it's going to be the same for you. And if you don't have one, please reach out to us so we can help you get started on that, or you can just look up create new Gmail account on Google. So then also too, what is Google Drive? We talked about in the previous video on how Google Drive is basically that online storage of your files, whether it be photos, videos, specifically documents and spreadsheets and PowerPoints and things like that. It houses all of those. It holds all of those so that you can access them from different devices, edit them from different devices and all that stuff. So also too, wanted to go over folders and files and things like that. So first, I'm going to get out of here and I'm going to go into Google Drive. So we were going to talk about folders. So now, as I said, I have these different folders here, but how did I create them? How did I get into those? Because you may want to organize what you're doing, which is something that I like to do. So I'm going to click on this new button. And I'm going to go ahead and click folder. And I'm going to just say, I'm just going to call it example for now. And now that it's done, it shows up right here. So let's say for today, anything that's inside here that I create stays in here. So now that I'm in the example folder that I double clicked on it, I can create files and they'll go in here. Otherwise, you can simply, let's say if they aren't in there, you can simply click and drag and they can go in there. So like I said, we're going to be creating a Google Doc file today. I'm going to show you some of the basics. So we'll get started. If you click the new button again and you go down here, you have some options. You got Google Docs, Google Sheets, Google Slides. Well, today we're going to create a Google Docs. So we'll click on Google Docs. And this is what Google Docs looks like. It's similar to Microsoft Word. It's just Google's version of it, which is kind of what I mentioned earlier. Now, I'm going to give you a brief tour on what things are, kind of where they are, and then we'll go over some other things, on how to actually use it. So first things first, most important thing, always title your documents. And where you do that is up here on the top left. So if you need to title a document, it's always going to be up here, and I can just title it what I want. So title of document. That's what I'm going to call this one for today. So that's where that's at. Also too, you have your menu bar, okay? Your menu bar is this file, edit, view, insert, format, tools, add-on, help, all of this right here. And I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with that when it comes to, using your computer. You probably remember that that's, usually at the top of your screen. You'll see something that'll be like file, edit, view, and all that stuff. That's what this is. This allows you to manipulate the file to do certain things, find certain features, use certain tools within here. So that's what that is. And then last but definitely not least is the toolbar. Now for the toolbar, we have all these different buttons, but what are these different buttons? What do they do? So first and foremost, you have undo. You also have redo. So like, let's say if I, type some text here and oops, I made a mistake, I don't want that, I'll click undo. Oh, it got rid of it for me. So the last thing that I did, it can take away. Now let's say if I want it back, I can click redo. Oh, there it is. Now it shows back up. Also too, I have print, and that's something you can check out at a later time. There's also spell check, really, really helpful. Obviously that is not a word. So then after that, you have like a paint format, which is kind of more of a higher level tool that I'm not too worried about for right now. If you have time, go ahead and play with that. Also too, you have this right here. Well, what is it? It's zoom. So if you click on that, you can change the view of how large the paper is in your window. So it's really nice. I tend to find myself putting it at roughly 150 so I can see the edges of the pages, but the text is large enough. Then next we have your styles. I don't mess with this too much, but for those of you who are familiar with headings and titles, subtitles, and all that stuff, that's a feature that you may like. But another one that's really, really useful is your font. So you can click this right here, and the default font is set at Arial. But let's say if I want to change it to this one right here, well, then I can change the font for me. Or let's say I want it to look a little more like handwritten. I can do that. So you can play around with that and see how that works for you. But for today, we're just going to stick with Arial, the default font. Next, you have the font size. So the font size is the actual size of the font. I can click on this and I can make it big, I can make it small, I can do whatever I want to it. Then also too, you have the bold, which makes the text more bold. You have the italicize, you have the underline, you have the text color. You can change the color of your text. You can even highlight text if you want to. You can even insert like a hyperlink. Like let's say if I want this to link to like a YouTube video, I can copy and paste a YouTube link in there, and then there it goes. I can actually make it into a link. And then whenever I click that, it goes to the website that I put in there. Also too, I can add comments, which is a feature we'll go into a little later. I have insert image. So like, let's say if I have a picture that I want to put on the computer here, on the document here, I can either upload it from my computer, or I can upload it from my Google Drive. Also, there's a thing called Google Photos. You can even use your web camera if you want. If you have a URL to the photo, you can use that. Or one of my favorite features is search the web. So I'm going to go ahead and click search the web. And let's say if I'm making a document about cats. Okay. So I can search cats. And now I could just use all these pictures. I have all these pictures at my disposal, and I can just click on one, click insert, and there we go. And I can resize the image, really, really nice. Let's say if I don't want that highlighting anymore, I'll highlight all of this and I can turn it off. We have all of that. So after that, you have a few other things. So let's say if you don't want everything left aligned, let's say if you want it all centered, you have these formatting alignments that you can mess with. So I'll make this all centered. Let's say if I have a couple lines of text, but let's say all of this text is too close to each other. I have the line spacing option. So I can change how far these groups of texts are vertically. I can change how far they are apart vertically. So I'll click line spacing and I can click double. So now they're really far apart, or I can make it really tight and do single. That part's up to me. Then after that, I also have numbered lists. So if any of you like to do lists, this is an awesome feature for you. If you want it to be a bulleted list, you can do that. There's indentation, and then also clear formatting, where you can remove all sorts of formatting, and then a few additional tools. So that is a brief tour on the on the toolbar. Incredibly useful. I strongly suggest that you play around and try a few things out with that. Now, next, but definitely not least, is headers and footers. I'm sure some of you may want to know where that's at. Well, I'm going to give you a little trick, a little helpful thing that allows you to find certain things. So let's say if I don't know where headers is, let's say if I want to make a header, but I don't know where it's at. So I'm going to click on help, and I have this search the menus feature, which is super nice. So if I need to know where headers is at, I'm going to type headers. All right, so I have all these options. I have headers and footers, insert or move to header, insert page number, all that stuff. So I'll click on headers and footers, and now I can mess with the dimensions. So let's say that wasn't what I wanted. Let's say if I do headers again, I'll do insert or move to header. Okay, now I have my header. It's that easy. Now, for those of you who do want to know where it's actually at, it's underneath insert and headers and footers. And like I mentioned before, a lot of learning this new tool is going in and poking around, going through each menu and seeing what's in each one of these things. That's where you're really going to do a lot of learning, is when you just take a moment and you go through and you learn about it and you see what's all in there. So we've gone over headers and footers. We've talked about inserting images. Let's talk about what it's like to insert things like a table. That might be something that you want to use, okay? So let's say I want to insert a table. So I'll click insert. I can find a table, and now I can decide how many cells are in the table. So let's say it's a 3x7, okay? So it's three cells wide by 7 cells high, okay? And there's my table. It's that easy. Let's say if I want to do columns, if I want to do 2 separate columns, we'll go like this. I'll delete everything. Let's say if I have 2 different columns that I want to do. So I'll do insert, I believe it's here, or oh, okay, it's underneath format. So you click on columns. I can do 2 columns. I can do 3. Really, really nice. Really, really nice. And so once I get to the bottom of this one, let's see here, we'll paste a bunch. All right, so it looks like I don't have that yet. Let's do format again, columns, let's do 2. And hopefully it will allow me to mess with columns. Through formatting, let's remove all of our bullets and things like that. Yep, okay, so it looks like it ends at this point. And then the next section should be over here. And we may go over this at another time as well. So that might be just something we have to play with. Also too, you can do drawings. You can insert drawings and things like that. So let's say I need to create something and it's not an image out there. I need to actually create a drawing. So I'm going to click insert drawing, and I can either go find one that I already created or just create a new one right here. And now I'm in this little mini window, and I can do whatever I want. I can make lines, I can do shapes and arrows and all sorts of stuff. It's really nice. I can do text boxes. I can even insert more images. Let's do cats. So I'm inserting that. I can do all sorts of stuff. It's incredibly useful. I can crop things. I can add borders. I can, do whatever I want. So let's say I'm done with my drawing, and it will actually insert it as an image. And if I want, I can actually go back in and I can edit it. It's really, really nice. After that, you have other things like you can insert things like charts, column charts, line charts, pie charts. You can pull data from a certain spreadsheet that you've made. Really, really nice. And then last but not least, for the basic usage and tools of Google Docs, you have things like I mentioned. You have the zoom, really useful. You have that spell check. You have the undo redo. Do not forget about those. All right, so next I want to talk to you about some of the tips and tricks that are in Google Docs. Incredibly helpful tips and tricks. So first of all, some of us out there don't like to type. Some of us out there, it's a bit of a burden. And now that it's 2020, we can do a speak or a speech to type feature with our phones. Well, that's available with Google Docs. you can do, if you go to tools, and mind you, this is only available on the Google Chrome web browser. You cannot get this on Firefox. You cannot get this on Internet Explorer or Opera or anything like that. You need to be in Google Chrome to access this feature. So let's say you have that browser up and you're in Google Docs, just like I am right now. You have this voice typing feature. Now it says click to speak. So I'm going to click on this and anything I say should be typed. And the accuracy is pretty close. So I clicked it and now I'm talking. And now it's typing everything that I'm saying. And as long as I speak clearly enough, it should be able to type everything that I have to say. It's incredibly useful, especially for those who do not like to type, or for those who need a rough draft of something and they don't have a lot of time to type it out. So I can stop it by clicking that button again, and now it's done typing for me. Really, really helpful feature we have here. Also too, let's say there's a website out there. It's called Paste Without Formatting is the feature I'm about to show you. So let's go to, here, we'll see if there's a cat website. Okay, let's see here. See if I can find something here. Okay, hopefully we can find some text that we can copy. All right, so let's say if I have this website and it has some text that I need to copy from. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and highlight it and I'm gonna copy it. And I'm gonna go in here and I'm gonna paste it, okay? Well, hold on a second. This text looks way different than the text that I'm currently working on. Now it doesn't look very professional. Also too, like this is the wrong font. This is like, it shouldn't have a link in there. I don't want it to be red and all that stuff, okay? So what you can do is you can right click and do paste without formatting. Now all of my content pastes in accordingly without any formatting problems or background or highlighting or anything like that. Does not come across. It's just the text itself. So that's a really, really nice feature. So if you're having troubles copying and pasting things, try the paste without formatting option. Now, the next thing that I have is the find and replace. I use this quite a bit. Let's see here. So tool. Let's see here, where is find and replace at? I usually just use a, let's see here, find. All right. So find and replace. So this is the way I find it because I'm used to the shortcuts and it's probably somewhere in here, but I can just type in here and type find, and then you'll have the find and replace option. So what this tool is let's say if I have the word, let's see here, the word now or even type. Let's say if I have the word type in my document and I want to change it to chat. So I'm going to type in the word type and notice that it finds it here on my document automatically. It shows every single time that word has been put into my document. And I'm going to replace that word with the word chat. Now I can click replace all or just replace one, but in this case I'm going to do replace all, and every single word now changed from type to chat. So it's really, really useful. Now you can get more specific with matching by case or a few other things, or just replace a few of them, but that is a really nice tool if you need to find anything or find and replace anything. So that is another feature I really like to use. Now I've talked previously, this search the menus option, as you've seen, I've already used it quite a few times. It's really, really useful. Next, we have the explore option, which is on the way bottom right side of my screen. Now, what is that? We're going to click on it and I'll show you. Let's say if I'm doing research on cats, okay? But I don't want to have like 30 different tabs on my computer, right? I want to, oops, yeah, there we go. Okay, so let's say I'm sitting and working on my document and I'm looking up stuff on cats, but I get tired of going back and forth between tabs. I'm going to click on section over here for Explore, and I'm going to type in cats. What it does is it basically creates a mini Google search on the right-hand side. So I can find resources, information on things while I'm working on the document. So that's really nice. I can look up websites, I can look up images, and even better, I can look up things in my Google Drive. So if there's anything with like the word, like let's say college, okay? So if I click college, any document that has the title college, any document that has the word college in it, it can find it in my Google Drive. It makes things really easy so that I can click on them and open them up and stuff like that. Really, really convenient, really nice. And then the last trick that I want to show you guys today, and it's more of just an aid, it's the Docs Training and Docs Help. So if this video was helpful for you, but you like a little more hands-on approach, or you need a little bit more help, or you want to dive deeper, if you click on Help up here, and you see Docs Help and Training, go ahead and click on those, and you can learn all sorts of things about Google Drive and Google Docs, and they walk you through things. Google actually has some things out there that are really, really helpful. Now that we're done with the general overview of the use of Google Docs, I want to show you a few other things. So I'm going to get out of this document. I'm done with it. Let's see if I want to make another document, but I want it to look fancy. I want it to look nice, okay? There's this thing called templates that Google Drive has. I'm going to click on New, and I'm going to go down to Google Docs, but before I click, I'm going to move my mouse to the right where that arrow's at, and it says blank document or template. We're going to click template. It's going to take me to this screen of many different options that I have. Incredibly helpful. So let's say if I'm a student, they already have things such as here. Let's see here. Let's see. We have essays. We have reports in MLA. We have APA. We have an essay. We have book reports, we have class notes, you have lesson plans. It's great for teachers. And it's all these different templates that you can use. Promotion job letter, they have resumes, they have sales quotes, they have so many things, brochures, newsletters, all sorts of stuff. And it's pre-made content for you with things like filler text, example text that you can delete, but it uses the template and the basic outline. So your content and things that you're making look professional, and that way a lot of the designing and visual elements are taken care of for you. So for today's example, I'm just going to choose the newsletter. We're going to let it load, and now it's created a new document, and it's titled it newsletter on the top left, and I can change that if I want to. Let's see here, Hettinger newsletter. Okay, and I can go in and I can change any of this text. So Hettinger newsletter. So that's really, really handy. I can, change any of this text. I can even change this image. But we have all of these preset things that I can edit. So my document looks really professional and really, really nice. So that's definitely something I suggest, is go into the templates option on Google Drive and see what's all there. There's lots of things out there that'll help you with school, work, personal stuff, all sorts of things. And notice too that we have some design features, some other things that you can do with images, but we can you can go in and play with that on your own time. Also too, last but not least, and this is probably my favorite. This is probably my favorite thing, and I'm going to set something up so that way you can see what it looks like. So I'm going to go ahead and share this document with somebody. The ability to share with people using Google Docs is really powerful and really easy, because you'll be able to basically send a link to them, and then they can access that document and not only see your document in real time and the updates that happen in real time, they're able to also edit it if you want. They can go in and edit it at the same time. And I'm going to show you what that looks like. So I'm going to go in here, and let's say if I click on share and I want to send this to a friend, and we're just going to use my email for now. Okay, so I'm going to type in the email address of the people that I want to share this document with, and there's many options you have. You can allow them to edit it, you can allow them to only comment on it, or you can allow them to just view it. You can even add in a note to the message, and this will be an email that gets sent to that the email address that you popped in above here. So I'm going to go ahead and click send. That person's going to get a notification, and then they're going to be able to access the document. And I'll show you what that actually looks like. It's really, really nice. So I'm going to scroll up here, and you should be able to see, hopefully, we'll see if it allows. And it may not. I don't have a separate account. Okay, there we go. All right. So I have my one account over here, as you can see in green. They are actually editing the document as we speak, as you can see that. So that is the other person's account. They can actually edit and make changes to this document as they want. And I can do the same, and they can see the same thing on their end as well. So talk about an easy way to collaborate. It's super, super useful, super, super helpful. So I strongly suggest for those of you who are comfortable with, you know, sharing documents, things like that, to really use this instead of emailing a document or grabbing your flash drive, because this really, really opens things up as far as options for everyone. Now, let me quick go back to my spreadsheet, and let's see if we have anything else that I'd like to go over with you. Okay, so yeah, saving version, history, and downloading. Okay, so last but not least, saving. This is another great feature, which is why I recommend Google Drive and Google Docs. So let's say I'm going to delete this text, all right? And then after I'm done, I want to save it. Well, if you watch up here where it says all changes saved in drives, keep a close eye on that text as I delete what I have here. Notice it says saving. And now it says all changes saved in Drive. What it just did was automatically save the change that I just made. It automatically saved that I deleted that text. Super nice. So now the idea of saving things or forgetting to save them and lose them or lose changes, that is a thing of the past. Incredibly useful, incredibly helpful. Now, let's say I made some changes a little while ago and I want to go get them back, but like, how do I do that? Well, Google has this ability in their Google Docs to go technically back in time. So we want to go back to the time before my fellow coworker did all these crazy changes to my newsletter. So I'm going to click on this all changes saved in Drive. I'm going to click on that. And now I can see every change that's happened. So on the right-hand side, I can open up today's date and I can go all the way back to the original version. And I can see every batch of changes that happens. And I can choose any of these and I can restore things back to that version. And now technically going back in time to that version of my document. So it's incredibly, incredibly helpful. So I believe that is some of the last things. All right, so it's version history. And then last but definitely not least, let's say if you still want your file, let's say if you still want to download this onto your computer, if you want to send it as an attachment or whatever you want to do. Some people just may want to do that. There is the ability to do that. So if you click on file, and you go down, you click on download, you have a few options. You can download this document as a Microsoft Word document. So your compatibility is still there. You can still send it. Let's say if you have a professor that only accepts Microsoft Word documents as a, you know, if you're a college student, you can simply just use this. And it doesn't matter if you have Microsoft Word or not, because you can still submit it in the proper format that they need. There's a few other formats, but predominantly you'll just either use Microsoft Word or PDF. Those are some really, really nice features that to have. So, and that is about everything that I wanted to show you guys today. Thank you so much for tuning in. And if you have any questions, go ahead and get a hold of us, and we will help you to the best of our abilities. All right, thank you.